Hello everyone, welcome to Networking Essentials, Unit 3. In this unit, we will get to know the concept of circuit and circuit programming first. And after that, we will have the two types of circuit programming using UDP and TCP. Finally, we will have the frameworks of circuit programming. Alright, that's all. This is the content contained in this unit. Introduction. Circuit programming. So, what's a circuit in networking? Actually, we call it a door. Door between the application process and the transport layer. Alright, so if we want to have the programming associated with this kind of door, we call circuit programming. And so that we can go through the door and then the packet go through the internet. So it is the circuit programming scenario like this. Types of circuit programming. We have two types. One is unreliable datagram and the other is reliable byte-string oriented. So we have these two types, and the first one, unreliable. So we will use datagram using a name later to define the circuit for the UDP programming. And the TCP actually we will use string and define the circuit for TCP. Circuit programming with UDP. First of all, UDP provide the service without connection. So no connection between the client and the server. Therefore, no handshaking. And sender send the datagram with the IP and the port number. So actually datagram we can have a port first, and later within the packet we will have an IP address there. And the receiver can receive the message through using the IP address and port number from the received packet. Because of no connection, and also because of no further treatment, so transmitted data may be lost or received out of order. From the viewpoint of the application, should we use UDP? Actually, we provide some possible service. Of course, it's yes. And circuit programming with the TCP, and TCP actually need to have the connection, and server need to run first, and so that server can welcome client to connect, and client then can connect to the server. So it should create TCP circuit. Of course, so both server and the client need to create circuits. Well, for the client side, create a circuit and then need to establish to the server circuit for sure. Alright, so for the server, when creating the circuit, then it will wait there for welcome the contact from the client. Alright, so for TCP actually, it is a reliable one, so we can treat it as a string version and seems to be a pipe. Well, so right now let us have for the example for illustration of circuit programming. The problem here is really simple. We just want to key and then we send it to the server, and the server will change the case to the uppercase and then send it back to the client, and that's it. So this is a problem specified. So if we use UDP, what to do? Here we have the corresponding name. We have a circuit, but how to distinguish UDP? We use SAC datagram. Previously we have a datagram, so we can use it to have the way to specify UDP. And this one actually indicate IPv4 version 4. Alright, and both sides need to create circuit. So we have a server circuit, we have a client circuit, and then we can have the server circuit. Alright, so for each one do its thing, and then this is some necessary steps for the UDP circuit programming. For TCP, actually we have a stream, but this time we don't show all the details, but need to ask the server start before the client circuit to connect. Alright, so we have the server circuit, and server circuit need to accept the connection from the client for sure. Alright, takeaways. We have the discussion about the concept of a circuit in networking. Using that concept, then we can enable circuit programming. And in fact, we have two types of circuit programming, TCP, UDP. One is the reliable circuit programming, and UDP is the unreliable circuit programming. Based on the circuit programming, and we can have the framework for TCP and UDP. Okay, that's it. So this is a short course, Unit 3. And that's it. If you want to see more video, you can browse the link here. Okay, that's it, and see you. This is the end of this unit. Thank you for watching.